Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Jonesia from QA. Today we're going to replace the X in GXP with an L to make GLP, which is good laboratory practice. So what role does GLP play in clinical trials, and why should we care about it at all? Well, let's get into that. So this was something that I found a very helpful metaphor for kind of solidifying what GLP is. In the context of cooking, GLP ensures that the recipe is followed to a T. Any deviations from the recipe would be noted for future reference of anyone who wants to make that recipe. And in the context of GLP, that could be an auditor. So what is GLP, or good laboratory practice? Well, according to the European Medicines Agency, good laboratory practice GLP define a set of rules and criteria for a quality system concerned with an organizational process and the conditions under which non-clinical health and environmental safety studies are planned, performed, monitored, recorded, reported, and archived. So, what's the difference between good clinical practice and good laboratory practice? From episode 3 of Quality Matters, we go into what good clinical practice is. So, I'm going to encourage you to check that out, and I'll link it in the description for you. But to provide a general overview, good clinical practice pertains to the whole clinical trial, while good laboratory practice pertains to the preclinical stage of the trial. So, it's a more narrow scope here. So, the purpose of good laboratory practice is to ensure that all drugs following a quality management process at the preclinical stage are safe prior to human use. These regulations ensure all processes and procedures are taking place at the preclinical stage of the trial. It's needed for non-clinical safety, pharmacovigilance, and toxicology studies prior to human use. So GLP is done at the preclinical stage where testing is done on animals and cells, and this is going to be prior to any human involvement. So the first good laboratory practice guideline pertains to personnel. The study director must be present to monitor GLP compliance as well as the budget. An independent quality assurance unit, such as an auditor, must also be present for the trial. Check out Quality Matters episode 1 on details pertaining to auditing. I'll link that in the description as well. So the next guideline pertains to the study plan. These are guidelines on how the study is to be conducted, also known as the study protocol. So next we have standard operating procedures, and these are step-by-step guidance on regular operations. So the next guideline is facility, equipment, and handling. So the facilities team must follow specific processes when working with test equipment and the facility. This ranges from proper storage of equipment to keeping notes on receipt and expiration. So the next guidance we have are study reports, and this is going to be the responsibility of the study director. So this report should outline the conduct of the study and note any deviations made during the study. So this report should outline the conduct of the study and note any deviations to the study plan. So the last guidance is study records, and these are data gathered throughout the course of the study that will be kept on file for a time determined by regulatory authorities. So for this next part, I'm going to break down two international standards and the standard that they create when joined together. So ISO stands for the International Organization of Standardization. ISO standards cover topics including quality management and information technology. So IEC, on the other hand, stands for the International Electrotechnical Commission. So IEC is a nonprofit that sets international standards for electrical and electronic technologies. IEC standards ensure the safety and reliability of these technologies. So what is ISO IEC 17025? Well, this is an international standard for testing and calibration laboratories. Following this standard improves laboratory credibility. GLP studies are often compliant with ISO IEC 17025. So if you made it to this point in the video, thank you for giving a smaller YouTube channel the time of day. I make these videos for all the curious cats out there, so if you found this interesting at all, hit that like, hype, subscribe button, as well as that notification bell because it really does help me out and helps me get my content out to you. But that's all for this episode, so I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!